Welcome to Art of the Card. Tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Chris.
What's
And
going on,
tonight
Joe?
we are going to dive deep into Bengals football, baby. You've seen it on my hat. You see it on Chris's sweater. We will be celebrating the Cincinnati Bengals season. We are filming this before the Super Bowl, so no predictions on this show. We're only looking at the art, but you can tell where our feelings lie. And following in that vein, we're going to look at some of our favorite Joe Burrow inserts that hit the market in the 2 years that he's been with the league. This is by no means a definitive list, but we are going to end with a bang. And we are looking forward to talking about quite a few cards tonight. Again, kind of get some surface level insights, kind of get some really quick reactions from these two Bengal fans. One of us a lifelong Bengal fan. I'll leave you to guess which one. Chris,
And
how we feeling?
one is just showing support for their friend. So since
Well said. Well said.
since my Cleveland Browns didn't give us the season that we wanted, so
Oof.
yeah. So no, Joe, I'm happy for you. Happy for Cincinnati. All our other friends that are from that area, and this is a fun time. So hopefully, after this episode, hopefully they win the Super Bowl. Would be awesome to see. So.
It's a great feeling already. It's been a great season. Joe Burrow is the truth. He is here to stay. I couldn't be happier.
So let's get right into it. So
Yes.
also, as Joe said, we're going to do a top 10, but by no means is it 100% like that's the absolute number 4 or 5. So we're kind of just it's a rough estimate of a top 10. So
Well,
we'll
we
get
can kind of
into it.
talk about how we formulated the list, right? Because I mean, we kind of again, we hadn't planned on the Cincinnati Bengals actually reaching the Super Bowl, so this episode is a little impromptu.
Yeah.
Again, love Joe Burrow, love the Bengals. Who dey? Let's go Bengals. But we kind of talked about this, and said. Again, not a definitive list, but what are some of these just cards that have caught our eye, right? And that includes cards, of course, that are in some of these more mass-produced sets. Of course, they are still inserts, but they're cards that you've probably seen, or maybe perhaps you've pooled a few of these cards. I know that I have a few of these inserts, but not all of them are Burrows, of course. I think we got a really interesting list here, a really nice mix. Some of these are, numbered or rare, maybe even consider some holy grail cards. But we kind of mix this up too into some stuff that I
Yep.
think that folks are going to be very familiar with.
For sure. And it is just one thing to add to the mix. It's some of the ones that you would expect, and then some that are, in the thousands of dollars, and some that are $5. But that's kind of the focus of our channel, is just to talk about ones visually, why we like them, and again, not value of those cards. So
Right. Definitely the ones that caught our eye, I think, the most. The Bengals have some beautiful new uniforms this year. So even just between a 2 year period, we have a pretty wide variety of kind of looks out of young Mr. Burrow. It's quite the menu to select from. Chris, why don't you lead us off with the first card that we're going to take a look at tonight?
yeah, so number 10 is has become an iconic football card in the hobby. So we're going with the Contenders rookie ticket. There's a variety of rookie tickets. There's ones with the patches. There's the patch auto. So we'll probably have a few of them up on the screen when we air this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an iconic card. Everybody's seeing what the Brady card is doing of that rookie ticket. So we figured let's just start it off with. It's not, to me, it's not the most visually appealing card out there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. The hobby loves it, obviously. So yeah, we'll start it off with number 10 with the rookie ticket.
Well, I think one of the nice things about the rookie ticket is we do get a really nice field of color on this template, right? And so it's not necessarily a color match in the way that a parallel might be, a colored foil. But all of the rookie ticket cards do generally look pretty nice because you've got a really nice, field there
Yep.
of the team swatch. And
Yeah.
so in this case, we have that beautiful, that's not a Cleveland orange, Chris. That's a Cincinnati orange,
The orange
and
is not oranger on this one.
it is not. No, no, it does not adhere to the Cuyahoga brand standards. It looks good. It's a really sharp looking card. Like you said, this has kind of become iconic in the hobby, right? Now, to again reiterate, this is not about price. We really do want to just focus on just the art of the card. What does this thing look like? I'll admit, when I first kind of got back into the hobby, 2 or 3 years ago, it kind of caught me off guard because I wasn't familiar with this template, with these cards, that they were kind of considered, that they were highly sought after.
Hmm.
But as I've kind of, as my collection has grown of ultra modern, it's really nice to be able to look back on these and see how consistent they are throughout the years.
Yeah, they carry the theme really well throughout.
Well, you even mentioned to Tom Brady, right?
Yep. So yeah, no, it's cool. It's number 10. Should we move on to number 9, Joe?
Yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's go.
This is gonna be not rapid fire, but we want to cover all 10 in a decent way. So,
For sure.
so 2020, the Color Blast. This one's
Mm.
interesting. It gives me Sherwin-Williams vibes, like just kind of a cool concept of that. Those paints that the like they see the races, the color runs, and all that stuff. And so it's kind of a cool card. I know they command a high dollar. I wouldn't buy this card. I think it's visually interesting. We kind of felt like we had to put it on this list, just from
Yes.
a visual look. But it's definitely not my favorite Burrow card visually on this list. But
No, I think you're right. I think again, this is not a definitive list, but we wanted to have some of the cards that you're immediately going to think of when someone said, "Hey, what Burrow card do you want? What Burrow card are you shopping for right now?" A Super Bowl champion Joe Burrow, of course. The color burst is going to come to mind. You're going to check that price, see what that looks like. And this is a sharp looking card. I really like the white space that we have here. This is the color burst on the
I
white
do like
background.
that. Yeah, yeah.
There's some high contrast there. Obviously, it his color burst. The color looks great. It's a really nice touch there. It's a card that really commands a lot of attention. I think it's the only thing that I don't love about it, is it feels like there's a gloss, or there's like a spot gloss on these cards, and it's really kind of my whole critique of Prism in general, where it just kind of feels like it's not quite aligned in the way that I would hope for, or as meticulously, as accurately as I would want. And again, that may just be from some of the different print runs that I've seen. I can tell you from being at the TriStar show this past weekend. Shout out TriStar. Shout out to the NRG Arena. We walked by several display cases, where this is all they had, right? And it's just so impressive. It looks so nice, right? It catches the light so well. I do think these cards look beautiful. I think that they deserve to be considered, right, in any discussion about Joe Burrow cards, uh, so far through these first 2 years. But I'm with you. We've got some better cards ahead, I think.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we move on?
No, it's cool. It's a cool insert. People love them. I like it. I'm not in love with it, but you'll see my favorite acetate card that I would rather have. That's like a fraction of the price. But
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's what
yeah,
we're all
yeah.
about, man. All right, so let's see what's
So,
next.
moving on to the 2020 downtown Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
We've talked about these cards on the earlier episode, the downtown, the kabooms, all that stuff. So I think this one's cool, right? You see the Bengal, like the Tigers with him. It's just a cool concept. It's a nice illustration. He looks like the illustration of Burrow himself is cool. So I like it. I think it's one of, if you were to say, ask anybody that's a Burrow collector or a football card collector, like what's one of the top 10 Burrow cards, I think people would most likely pick the downtown to be in that list. So,
Well, I can only imagine too, if you're an LSU collector, right? How excited you were to see this card come out. falls right in with Go Tigers.
Mm.
I mean, you can make that work. I really like the way this card looks. It's kind of what my other critique, and it's not so much a critique, right? It's really kind of two different kinds of cards. Again, thinking about the color burst, once you've seen one, you kind of seen them all.
Hmm.
Now they look impressive in aggregate, right? When you have them in mass, it's stunning.
Yep.
But I like the parallels. I like these inserts that are a little bit more individualized, right? And of course, no a short print set does that better than Downtown right now.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool to have the LSU one, the 2020 downtown, and the 2021 downtown. If you're
Because
like
thematically they all probably work really well together, right? You
yeah,
know what
it's
I
like
mean?
cool illustrations of his career. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so we can't can't have a Burrow list without the downtown
And
card. So,
honestly, this one is really high on my list. I mean, and again, now this is a confluence of a high value card, but this
hmm
is one that I think the look is fantastic. It's one that I would feel good about investing some money in if I had to. But I mean, just
yeah,
just just the look of it again. If you lined all these cards up, this is easily in the top quadrant as we say.
yeah,
It looks fantastic. It's got so much personality. I'm excited to your point about seeing the kind of illustrations from the LSU journey right through the rookie year and now this memorable 2021 2022 season. What's next? What'll be in store? What's the next chapter here? Certainly will be fun to see, and I'm sure it'll be fun to see illustrated.
for sure. Maybe we could have bumped it up on the list, but it's all right. It's
Well,
not.
well,
It's
again,
not. It's cemented. It's not a
yeah,
cemented top
well, I
ten.
think
So
some of these are expected to, so we're just kind of knocking a few of these out. I think that's
yeah,
okay. Again, we'll head straight into the clearly Donruss, right?
yep,
Talking about 2020 rated rookie, clearly Donruss. Unexpected card. I think this is a card that probably a lot of people have. I have not checked the pop reports on any of this.
yeah. They
So,
have they have variations. Like there's like a
sure.
red one. There's I have the base version like that
Hmm.
we're looking at on the screen, and it's cool. I love. I probably have talked about acetate cards in every episode of Art of the Card. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I need to get that. So
Well, the rated rookie mark is so iconic. It's so desirable too. I mean, it's not just desirable in the way that it commands value, but it's just again so iconic that
mhm.
it's a great. So I mean, sometimes it's hard for us as collectors to not just find a rookie card, but agree on what a rookie card is. And
Yeah,
so just sometimes when it's out there in the open, it's a nice little guarantee, of what you got in your hand.
yeah,
Um,
and I
and,
love the
and
photography on these
yeah,
too,
yeah.
on the rated rookies, like the year with like Josh Allen and Baker
Hmm.
Mayfield, and like it's just that from even the Don Russ or the optic version, it's just really great photography, and I think they've done a great job in recent years with kind of bringing eyes to the rated rookie
I
Don Russ
like the
card.
template. I like the Donruss template. Honestly, again, that will probably be a deep dive for us, on the channel. Going into some of these just base sets. But I think that the template works really well. It does highlight the photography, and the rated rookie is going to be something that you want in your collection regardless. Why not have something that's a little bit more unique, a little bit
Hmm.
more special, and just going for the acetate stock? I think
Yep.
that's a really cool move by Panini and by Donruss. And this is definitely one that I have high on my list, high on my own PC. Just fun cards to have, fun cards to pull out, and have on display. So a really big fan of this set. I'm not sure how long they've been doing the acetate rated rookies, but we should look that up.
Yeah.
We should find out because it doesn't feel. If I feel like these are very new. Like this is a very new thing for Panini to try out.
Yeah. No, I think it's been a couple years, but I mean, back in the '90s, there was acetate inserts and a lot of stuff, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah, but for the Donruss, like
yeah.
like to this extent, you know what I mean. It just feels like it's been very popular. Like I've seen a lot of these cards get traded around. I feel
Hmm.
like there's some really valuable currency to have in the hobby right now. I think that they're just a very interesting choice, right? To move away from paper, to move onto an acetate stock, and the decision to use this template to do it.
Yeah,
It paid off in spades. It looks fantastic.
very cool. All right, moving on to the 2020 Gridiron Kings, Joe
Yes.
Burrow.
So this
You
is
brought this one up. You're a big fan of this one.
Yeah. And I mean, this one, there's some different. I actually kind of like the pink parallel, obviously for bubblegum and leather. I like a lot of the pink parallels when we kind of start to talk about the short prints and things like that. I really like these cards. Again, these are accessible cards for me. These are cards that I see traded around quite a bit. I think it's a really interesting template to me. And that the background, like the actual background where we have like the color, that color wash, these big broad, it's very detailed, right? It's not quite a paint stroke. It's not quite, like this kind of chemical, wash or ink blot. Really dynamic. And then just this big gaudy, frame, that you kind of pull in. I love it. I love it. And it honestly, I feel like it kind of feels like it was, kind of slapped together, in a mad scientist lab somewhere. But these cards work really, really well together. I like the Burrow because I think that, again, this is just a really nice fusion of elements. Again, that kind of hyper texture background, this gaudy gold frame, a little bit of illustration in there, but we still got a photo of Burrow, right? It's all of the elements all rolled into one. The stock itself even has a little bit of a dimpled texture, right?
Like almost
Uh,
like a canvas
exactly.
material. Yeah, yeah.
I really like the Justin Herbert one as well. I think that there's a lot of different players within this short print set or within this insert set that I would look to acquire maybe as kind of just extra cards, kind of in a trade perhaps, cards that I can find on my LCS. But I really like the look of these. I think they're fun. And I think I think these will hold up really well. I think people will look back on these really fondly.
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add to it. I think you kind of summed it up. The I was originally torn about like the tacky, like gaudy gold frame, but it's like, but I also like love like ornate frames on artwork and stuff too. So it's like, you know, it's cool. I
Uh,
like it. It brings your attention to Burrow, to the players on the card.
hmm
I
hmm
like the material of it. So everything you said, I agree with. So
I need to get this card in a gaudy frame, right? And,
yeah,
and, and we'll
that would
really
be
get,
kind of
get
cool.
meta
Like
with it. Yeah.
get a big mat around it, get a big gold frame and just have it like centered and hanging on your wall. Would be
And then we'll
sweet.
actually have Joe Burrow stand in front of it, right? Like he's standing in front of
Yeah.
the frame on the
And then it'll be
card.
on a T-shirt,
Yeah,
and then
yes, yeah.
somebody
We
else
got
will wear
layers
it.
to this. There's
Yeah,
layers.
yeah. Very cool. All right, moving on to so I've seen this, and then this was one when we were putting this list together that you brought up, and you were like, "These are a couple of dollars, but like I just love the simplicity of it." You were talking about the material, so again, I'll let you go with this one, but it is a sharp card.
Yeah, behind the numbers, man, and I really like these again. The base iteration, even though these are short print, the most common ones have a beautiful shine to them. But you start to get into the silver parallels, right, and kind of some of the other, more rare versions that have that kind of extra foil to it. That it's just stunning. I like that again. This is an all gloss card, very little a surface area beyond the subject itself, the photograph. But there is a difference in the textures or in the foils. There's kind of this colored oil slick type texture within the numbers. Again, this short print set is behind the numbers. Excuse me. And so, each card will have, Joe Burrow, of course, has 9. I've got a CD Lamb card here in front of me. So we got a big 88 behind him. It's a nice way to kind of draw the contrast out. It's a subtle difference, in that background where we kind of have that desaturated area outside the number, and then inside the number, it's got some nice color in there. Again, these are cards that I enjoy looking at. Pulled these in several breaks, going burrow hunting, and I've tried to acquire more of them over time. I think they look really nice, and I'm really fascinated by the silvers and by some of the shorter runs that have that really really nice gloss to it. They to me they really catch the light in just an almost incredible way. So big fan of these. Actually, I think that they again knocked it out of the park on the design on this.
Yeah, so my favorite thing about them is the simplicity with the typeface of the numbers behind it.
Hmm.
On all, I saw like a Brady one, obviously with 12,
Yeah.
and they just look sharp. That player's kind of, it's almost like if a giant number was behind the player. It's just, I think, a simple, great design, clean design.
Yeah.
Um, so
Varsity letters or varsity numbers, nothing fancy, nothing futuristic, I mean, it's just really timeless almost.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's, I don't know if there's anything that I would really change about this card. I saw it the other day and I was like, wow, those are pretty sharp. So, um, yeah, I think it's a great card, great design. It seems like there's a lot of different colored parallels of this. That we're
Yeah,
looking at like a red one, a blue one.
the
You know,
Silver Prism is one that I'm actually pretty high on. That I want to start kind of seeing if I can collect more of those.
yeah.
I love the way that it reflects the light and the textures that are on the card. But there's a lot too. Yeah, I mean there's a lot of different versions out there.
Hopefully,
Uh,
there's an orange one out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, right. Or I mean, we've seen the black versions as well, which go really well with the Bengals jerseys. So there's a few different ways that can go. But I'm targeting the silvers at the moment. Again, I'm excited to put that out on display once I get those in.
Very cool. All right, moving on to the next one. So, all right, so up next we have the 2021 Donrus Out of This World insert. These are really sharp to me. I like the material of the card. I like, you know, they have different patterns. There's different parallels, I believe, with where there's different reflective patterns on them, and some of
Hmm.
them then are different, numbered to each pattern has a different number that they're limited to. So I don't know, Joe. This was one of my favorite Burrow cards that we were talking about when we were putting this top 10 list. Your thoughts on it?
And well, this is one of your cards, and uh,
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and I hadn't actually seen it before until you showed it to me. I think it looks great. Obviously, I love the scale here of Mr. Burrow straddling planet Earth, protecting us mere citizens from a onslaught of meteorites and other debris. I think it looks awesome. I like I think that there's a lot of the things that we talk about here on the pod, are kind of does the photo look good? Is it a good shot? Is it a good depiction of the subject? And it is a good picture here, of course, of Joe. But I think what's kind of cool is when we do kind of get a little bit more creative. We do think a little bit more outside the box with these cards, and it becomes a little bit more of an adventure. When I say, okay, it doesn't have to be on a football field, it doesn't have to be so straightforward. And I love the creativity here. I mean, I think it's, if you're going to go to space, I mean, go all the way. I mean, we made sure to have the Milky Way up there in the top right. I love that attention to detail, or at least some sort of galaxy, right? A sense of scale, again, about how big this is. Really, really cool card. How does it look in person? How does it catch the light? Does it? What did you get one of the numbered?
no, I just have the
Okay,
base one.
okay.
I need, but you can
That's
see
still
it.
really shiny. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah,
For those of us, yeah, yeah, who maybe can't see, but Chris is holding that up, and even just through the webcam here, I can see that it's really catching the light very
yeah,
nicely.
yeah. No, it's sharp. I should try to get some of the numbered ones. I just really like it. I think it's like, I like a good themed insert. You and I kind of have touched on this, from
Yes.
the '90s and stuff, and I think it's one of those rare modern inserts that are hit on the theme really well, as we talked about in our last episode or our third episode. Not, I'm sorry. Like a lot of modern inserts in basketball that kind of missed the mark. I just think
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool insert that it successfully, like, you know, we're not going to get a relic of like moon rock on this card for being out of this world. So it's like, I think it's a great theme. I think the print quality of it, the photography on it, the typeface, I think it's all just great all around. So
We'll save the Moonrock relic for the Allen and
yeah,
Ginter break.
yeah,
The other thing I like about this card is I think it's a really good depiction of the old Bengals uniforms, what is now the old Bengals uniforms, ones from last year. I actually I like our new look. I like our new look a lot. It honestly has grown on me a lot this year. It looks really great on the field. I think the way that they've streamlined some of the stripes, specifically the pants. This is probably the best that uniform has ever looked. I think on this card, that's a really awkward curve that we used to have on the thigh there. That you can kind of see how it wraps from the side around to the front. And I've always liked the tops. I think that the hard angle, the color blocking there on the shoulder pads always looked really cool. But the pants always looked a little awkward. I honestly think this is a really great snapshot of what that uniform should look like, but so often didn't when we would watch it in live action. So a cool little specimen there, but a full-on endorsement of that new look. Best believe I'll be getting that jersey with the Super Bowl patch. We got that bad boy on the way.
Well, it can't be any worse than the Browns uniforms a couple years ago with the stripes and team name going down the pants. So they looked like Victoria's Secret sports, like NFL sweatpants. They were bad.
Yeah,
So I'm
yeah,
glad
yeah.
we went back to the classics.
Cleveland Browns designed by VS Pink.
Yeah, it was brutal. Yeah, this isn't a jersey critique, but like the stripes going across with like Cleveland across, it was just I don't know how those were ever designed, but
it sounds like we'll have to have a spinoff called Art of the Jersey,
yeah,
or lack thereof.
that would be a sweet episode to talk about some of like I want the Milwaukee Bucks Glenn Robinson jersey from the 90s with the giant deer on it. That would be cool.
Yes.
All right, so this one, I had seen this card, and I saw it online when I was looking at Burrow cards, and then you brought it up when we were putting this list together, and to me, it is one of the coolest looking cards out there. This like mirrored finish, and I think there's maybe some parallels of this. I'm not sure, or maybe it's just people's photos are different of them. It is an awesome card, and I don't think it's a lot of money. Like if you were to buy this online, I don't think it's like the most expensive card out there. It just is really cool. I love it.
Yeah, we're looking at the Dynagon, and it does have that really, again, the foil finish. We get a really, really shiny surface, but we can also get this glowing outline that makes it really distinct, and it really draws your eye in. I think this card benefits from the Color Rush uniforms, right, where it does kind of like it makes Joe Burrow really emphasize that glowing look, right? I think if it was a darker colored jersey, it might feel a little bit more solid. But I mean, man, it really looks like he's kind of floating there. It doesn't necessarily bleed into the background. That wouldn't be the right analogy here. But it really makes it. It really highlights it. To me, it really makes that orange stand out. Again, we're talking about a Cincinnati orange, not a Cleveland orange. And just kind of some interesting accents, in the back of the cards, just some of those lines and other geographic kind of elements. I like kind of the typography is kind of a little funky, right? We got some really tracked out type along the side in the team name. I got Joe real small, all lowercase, Burrow real big. What's up, baby? It's cool. Even the placement of the rookie card, right? Insignia. I wouldn't say that that's really a standard placement. Sometimes we see it moved around on some of these cards, but there's a lot about this that feels different, despite it not necessarily being a rare card. And so I think it definitely stood out to me when we were kind of discussing this episode and this list. This is definitely one that again I would love to have out on display. I think it looks really sharp, and again in that white uniform, complements some of my other Joe Burrow cards really nicely.
Yeah. So I do like two things as you were talking about this with like this rookie card placement, like the line details they've added to this card kind of like lead your eye
They do
to the rookie card shield. Everything is just laid out really well on this card, from the side typeface to the logo of Dynagon to his name, like everything's just really placed really well. And then the outline, the orange outline or glow, it almost reminds me of our friend Luke the Cardist when he puts that initial layer down around the players on cards to separate paint. And I know he was like on Instagram Live a couple days ago, and he was kind of outlining it and talking about that process. And I think it just kind of, it like you said, brings your attention to the player, to the photo. So kind of, it's just an all around great like designed, visually appealing to the eye card of Burrow. So
No, shout out to Luke. Got to see Luke at the TriStar show this past weekend too. And I know he had a busy booth, but I was able to squeeze in and have a few words, man, and just kind of that was a real big treat. Certainly enjoyed that. You're right. When we kind of look at this card, it reminds me of some of his process photos, right? Of when these cards were kind of midway through being, kind of color blocked out. But I love your insight about the grid. Because it is a very clear, we see that line in the bottom right corner has been extended, right? Um, there's no other element on the card, right, that really comes that far into the subject matter, and it points you straight up towards that rookie card badge. And we obviously have the really kind of heavy underline there, separating the Joe Burrow's name and the RC badge. Again, your eye gravitates towards there. A design trick that we use often, you want to have some sort of object in the bottom right hand corner that is dominant, like that line is, right? If we just had a short line there, imagine that line, say, only went as far as Joe Burrow's foot. Well, what happens? That creates a downward angle. Your eye is going to scan that card and it's going to fall right off the page, right? What that line does is, as you look at this card, it pushes your eyes back up and into the content area. And so that's a really clever design trick. That might sound like a lot of overkill, but those are the types of things that designers will talk about, or things we'll look about when we talk about grid or layout. And it's the way that your brain naturally processes information. And so these are subtle little tricks that you'll find in many, many different applications of design, but it's a very well executed here
yep,
on this card.
yeah. Just one more thing, and then we can move on to the next one. How people's eyes usually read left to right, and you
Mm-hmm.
scan something. If you look at this card and you start at the top left or the top right or bot, like no matter which way you're looking, if I start at the logo on the top and I go down, my eye is carrying me like through the design layout or all around the
Right.
card counterclockwise or clockwise. It's just like, yeah, like it's just a well thought out, simple design that kind of leads your eye around the card to appreciate it. So, kudos to the designer on this series, whoever they are. So,
Yeah, it turned out really nice.
yeah,
These are a lot of fun to look at.
yeah, cool. All right, moving on to we're at our second top two of the Burrow collection here. So we're moving on to one. As we were looking for this, I saw this variation. And I said
Mm-hmm.
we have to put this one in here. And again, not from Cincinnati, not a Bengals fan, just showing support for my friend Joe.
When was the last time you had any Skyline chili, Chris?
I've only had it like once or twice. It's not
Oh
good,
my
man. I'm
goodness!
sorry.
Oh my goodness!
It's not good. Um, so I saw this card, and so I'm also a fan of these Prism Blacks. I have a
Mm-hmm.
Herbert Prism Black card, just the base. I think it looks cool. It's a little bit different. Um, this Burrow Prism Black with the orange variation is just awesome. Like if you're a Bengals fan, I feel like every Bengals fan should want this Burrow card because you know people like love color matching with the parallels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's like a better Burrow color match parallel than this one out there. I saw it and I was like, man, this is really cool. I would love to have this if I was a Bengals fan. So
Well, I think there are some mosaics out there, right? Because we see the colored mosaics again have a really nice feel to color, and so those orange ones are nice. I believe there's some orange ones floating around that I've seen that are color matched, look pretty sharp. But I'm with you. When you talk about Prism, and you get that really sharp, border, and then we talk about Prism Black. I kind of mentioned earlier how well that kind of how that color on the color burst, the white accented the jerseys there. But the black works equally well. What can I say? We have the best jerseys in the league. Chris, maybe if your team tried putting something on the helmets, I don't know. These are just some ideas that pop into my head. What do I know, man? I'm just a podcaster. But enough ragging on the Browns, man. This card is sharp. I mean, it looks good. I do like the Prism Black. I mean, say what you will about the Prism and the pop counts, right? That's another discussion for somebody else to have. But this card sings, you know. I mean, this it really does. It comes together in a nice way. I think this is a card that almost more so than any other card on this list that we'll look at looks like looks like an investment, looks like a card of value. Again, I do not want to get carried away with what cards are worth, but I think someone would look at this and maybe be like, "Oh yeah, that kind of feels like again, you know, a card that would be worth something." Whereas some of these others may feel, you know, a little bit more. Let's call it creative for right now. You know, a little bit more creative and not so business-like. I do think there's a business-like approach to the Prism line of cards, but this one really does stand out. The orange and the black, you just can't beat it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, I know there's like the base or like the regular prism, not the black with like the orange laser variation I've seen of Burrow. And people love that, but just something that's like clean about the black and the orange being the Bengals, like, I'm not gonna want Lamar Jackson black and orange color variation. It's just not gonna look as cool
but
with
but
like
you
purple
but you
jerseys.
do you like the color more than just the all black though.
Yeah, no, I just really think it visually is awesome because of the Bengals and the
Yeah,
jerseys and like,
yeah,
being the team colors being orange and black, like,
yeah.
this would work well with like a Browns player, like if it's Baker Mayfield or somebody. Um, but yeah, no, I just think it's like, it's awesome. To me, like, I like more simple designs on cards. I don't like all the crazy like discos and different stuff. So I saw this one. I was like, man, clean orange border, clean black background, great photo of Burrow. That
Well,
I'm a fan
you know what I like about this one too, Chris. You know, is even if we want to get really conceptual, again, you know, this is a business-like card. You know, like I mentioned earlier, but there is some fun to it. Think about how that border looks, how it's not an even line, and you think about the stripes on our helmet, right? Are not even lines either. I mean, it's not too much of a stretch to think of that border as kind of some stripes, right? You know, these kind of Bengal stripes. I mean, if we're there in that color space. You know, there's just it all comes together really well for a card that I think has a tendency to feel generic. This one feels very specific and very special, right, towards the Bengals. So very very interesting find, and I would be happy to have this as part of my Joe Burrow collection.
for sure. All right, we're to number one on our top 10 Joe Burrow cards, and I'll let you talk about this one. You said if you were to have one of these in your collection, this would be it. So I'll
Well,
let
I
you
said,
talk about.
yeah, I said we were gonna end with a bang, and that was a little bit of a Freudian slip. But you know, we're gonna go with Kaboom here. Again, not much of a surprise, but we did want to, or I did want to draw a distinction in the conversation that Chris and I had leading up to this show about the difference between the 2020 Kaboom and the 2021 Kaboom. I'm much more partial to the 2021 K33. This is one that I'm a big fan of. I like the energy here. We see the passing pose, the pose that he's most well known for, of course, on his rookie card in his rookie year, Kaboom. And I would not be upset with having one of those either. But I love the energy here. I mean, you know, the great thing about Kaboom, we've already seen on this list, and maybe some of you are picking up on my preference towards cards that have a very large foil wash, right? These really highly reflective cards that don't have a whole lot of surface area print. Kaboom does it the best because not only do we have a really highly shiny surface and a lot of it, it's got this great kind of radiating burst pattern within there. Now the pictures are always great, but I'm not so sure I've seen one that's quite as impactful. I probably should have looked up the Gronk Kaboom before we had this episode to make sure that one, you know, he may be outdoing Joe here. But I just really like the way that it comes together thematically with the card, of course. We were into New Jersey's here, of course, and they look great. The topography is a lot of fun. And even that red Kaboom, you know, it's kind of orange enough, right, to where it kind of feels like it matches some of the helmet color there, some of the stripe color. So you know, this is just a card that I think if I was gonna actually ask for a Joe Burrow card, if someone said, hey, you know, unlimited budget, which one do you want? Um, this is one that would be that I would consider, of course. But if you just put all the cards that we talked about tonight, just all in a row, and just said, which one do you think looks the best? This is the one that has the energy for me. I mean, when I think about how I've felt the last few weeks watching the Cincinnati Bengals play football, and no disrespect intended here, but really watching Joe Burrow play football, right? It's a special feeling. It's got me feeling like this, right? Like I'm ready to do a spike, celebration in my living room. It's a great feeling, and there's just a ton of emotion there. And I love a card, that can make me feel that, that I feel like embodies that. This card feels larger than life, and I think that the Kaboom is kind of grown right into almost this kind of mythical type chase card. Joe Burrow actually lives up to it in a way that I think a lot of other players don't. This is a big card for me. It's not just about the price point. The way this thing looks, it's find me a better looking card. I mean,
I
I'll
will.
wait.
I will.
Yeah.
The prism black orange variation.
No, I
I
mean,
will.
so Chris, I like the color match a lot. I really do. Let's talk about that for a second, because
I well.
I
I
like the
think it.
color match a lot. But
I think it's
but
just
look at
a
that
different.
pose. That pose is just it's just him. It's just him.
Yeah.
Sitting there in the pocket. There's really nothing special about that. I think as we get more Joe Burrow, right? More years of Joe Burrow, I think we'll have more and more of this card, and it won't feel so rigid when we go through his portfolio. But man, I got to tell you right now, a lot of his stuff is pretty stagnant for as electric of a quarterback as he is. A lot of the photos that I've seen are pretty, reserved Joe Burrow. And this is an unleashed Joe, right? I mean, this is Joe Shiesty at his finest. Joey Jackpot ringing in the lottery ticket. Like, let's go. I mean, again, we're talking about a year where, I mean, we're talking about, the Bengals getting to the playoffs, was a pipe dream. Winning a playoff game, was going to feel like our Cleveland parade. And we're in the Super Bowl, Chris. I mean, like let's show. I'm ready to show some emotion.
Yeah.
Again, we still got a week to go here in real time. But this is the card for me that kind of wraps up the way that I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And in a way that I just haven't found out of the other iterations of his cards over the last year or two. It's exciting, man. It's an exciting card. It's an exciting time. He's an exciting player. I just love the way that all these elements come together. Even in a way that should feel expected, this card still finds a way to feel special.
Yeah. No. It's great. I'm. I don't want to bring my Kaboom bias to the table. I think they're okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they're just okay cards.
Well,
Um,
and I think I'm with you there, Chris. I think that I'm not necessarily in love with these cards just in general, but I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that like I kind of get a little excited because I
This one
kind of
makes you excited. Yeah,
well, I like give myself permission. Like I feel like I have a reason to like a Kaboom, and that is exciting because they're cool cards.
yeah, yeah. No, it's cool. Yeah, no, it's great. And I don't know. I don't even know if there. I'm sure there's a Baker Mayfield Kaboom card out there. Maybe I'll go look for that one. It'll get me just as excited.
But
It'll be a third of the price. You know.
I've dunked on the Cleveland Browns enough tonight. I'll leave you to your Baker Mayfield Holy Grail search.
I don't even know what it would be. We could, I'll, I'm sure I'll find one someday. I'll
Honestly,
find
I
some.
bet he's got some. I bet he's probably got some cool stuff if they did any of the OU, illustrations, the on campus with the with
There,
the with the Sooner Schooner.
I just looked it up. 4 days left. 225, two bids on the Baker Mayfield
Two bids. Here
Kaboom.
we go.
Yeah,
A lot of action.
we got $170, zero bids or best offer. So
I don't want to. I don't
we
want to
can.
talk about. I don't want to talk about price on this pod, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk
No,
about price.
I'm saying just for attainability for myself. If I,
I hear you. I
but
hear you.
um, But yeah, no,
So no, it's okay. I mean, to not buy into the kaboom all the way. I think it has been overhyped to a degree. You know, we've really been saturated with these cards over the last year. Again, no surprise. I think that we landed here. But
I
do
mean,
want to.
I'm guilty of going to the card shops or card shows and buying blasters of Kaboom or of Absolute, trying to get one. You know, just it's fun. You
Yeah,
know, it's fun to
yeah,
see
yeah.
if you're gonna pull one. But
There is. I think there's also though there. I mean, when we look at this card, it's got the funky topography. You know, it's got all the shiny colors. There is something, I think to having. We talk about leveling up. At times, in the hobby, with our collections, and there is something to having. Again, maybe not talking about value, but having a more professional looking card set, and that's where I think that Prism Black really does come in. I think that's where a lot of your color matching comes in, for folks in their PCs. So all of these cards have their rightful place. I think all 10 cards we looked at tonight look really good. We'll have some episodes, right, where we go, we get a little bit of the good and a little bit of the bad, in our critique. But it's nice to kind of run through and just kind of have an uplifting episode, in honor of how Joe Burrow has uplifted the Cincinnati Bengals franchise, and taken us to the promised land. Christmas has been fun.
yeah,
Do you have any
well,
final
hopefully,
thoughts? You
no,
got
just other than hoping that they pull out a win for you and our other friend Jeremy, and we got Pete and just we got all kinds of guys that we went to college with that are
yeah,
big Bengals fans. So I'm rooting for you guys. So
well, as Ohio kids, yeah, I mean, you know how much this means, and it's good to have you aboard the bandwagon, man. Seriously, don't let anybody scare you off. The more, the merrier. It's an incredible feeling to root for the Cincinnati Bengals. Welcome aboard.
well, it's just It's for a couple weeks. It's for the next week, and that's it.
All right, well, send me that
So
sweater once you're done with it. All
all
right.
right, 75 bucks. It's yours. No, man, I'm just I'm happy for you and all our friends from Cincinnati for what's coming up. So it's exciting. It was fun talking about top 10 ish Burrow cards. I'm sure there's some others out there that we could have covered. So maybe after they win the Super Bowl, hopefully, maybe we do a follow up episode with some more. So
Oh, I
I'm
think that I'm going to have a very healthy Joe Burrow budget, for the next few weeks. So we can definitely have a follow up episode. Of course, folks, if you feel like we missed some cards, let us know in the comments down below. If you feel like we definitely hit on a few of your own chase cards, let us know too. We'd love to know what you guys think. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, of course, comment, and subscribe if you would. It sure does mean a lot to Chris and I. Again, I had the opportunity to go down to the TriStar show this past weekend. It's incredible to see how the hobby is growing. It's never been a more exciting time to be in collecting cards, and we're certainly excited to have the conversations that we've been having. And we're every place that we go. I'm so excited to bring art of the card to more and more people and more places. So please join us, and catch us next time.